go. Call this Village of Greenhills Council meeting to order for November 24th, 2020. Clerk, call the roll.
Mr. Halter?
Here.
Ms. Hermes?
Here.
Mr. Lee?
Here.
Ms. Metz?
Here.
Mrs. Monaghan?
Here.
Ms. Walter?
Here.
And Mayor Moore.
Here. Okay, we have a prayer by Maria.
Dear Lord, we pray for peace in the world. And we thank you for the people who stand for truth and for what is right. Give us your blessing for this Thanksgiving to all of us in the village. And Lord, to our veterans who have given so much for our freedom. Remember those who have given the supreme sacrifice, for we pray that they will never be forgotten. Be with us this Thanksgiving and always. We pray. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, do we want to make that change now to add the new resolution to the agenda?
And who's that under?
Finance.
Finance.
Oh, yeah, Mr. Mayor, I move that we amend the agenda, adding resolution 2020-35F.
Okay. All right.
Second.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, add that to the agenda. All right, I have the council minutes for October 27th and council meeting work session for November the 10th. If there are no changes, the minutes stand as approved. Okay, and do you want to address this tonight? I won't bother reading this whole thing. Yeah.
Opportunity. But I don't really have anything that concerns Greenhills particularly, just generally as the country is that a few days will be celebrating Thanksgiving, and I'm thankful for what we still have.
Yeah.
I'm troubled by the happenings in this year. I've lost my mother passed away in July, and that's taken a lot of adjustment, but then everybody's had to make a lot of adjustments, and I just want to, last month I said that everybody should get out and vote while we still have free and open elections. While we're still free, we have to ensure that they'll stay open, and that people can ensure that it's honest and forthright, and that confidence is maintained in the process. And the other thing I want to say is that thank you and everybody else who stands up and is involved and does what's right. Because if we're too afraid to act or too afraid to just get up and say something, like I almost am, it's what is it? I think it was Benjamin Franklin says that those who will give up essential freedoms for promise of temporary safety will lose their freedoms and their safety. And so, especially in this year, I encourage everybody to not be afraid and to get their nerve up and because the people who we celebrated on Veterans Day, they didn't have safety, but because of that, we have our freedom. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Sorry for your loss this year.
Okay, reports of village officials, municipal manager Yvonne Kovac.
Thank you, Mayor. Should I do the mask on or mask off?
No, you can
you hear me?
pull it down.
Okay, okay. Because I have a lot to say again tonight, and I do want to start with COVID and the resolution. The reason it's in front of you tonight is we're unaware that the deadline is December 4th, and we don't meet again until December 8th. So This is an opportunity to apply for maybe up to $59,000 for Greenhills. This one's a little different from the other one that we've been working with. This is, we purchase it and then submit it for reimbursement as opposed to getting the money in place. So we will see how much of that we can spend because it's all proving to be extremely helpful, especially the longer this all goes on, as we all know. So, yeah, again, we've been working through the CARES Act money from the, that we have already received, and I wanted to make you aware that in the month of December, the two largest projects that we're going to be doing will be underway. One is this room, and if you saw the wooden panel that is going to be replacing this carpeting, which is kind of nasty, so that should be great. I don't think the carpet sample went up there, made it up here, but the part we're sitting on, our chairs are rolling on, that carpeting will also be replaced. So it'll look quite different. That'll happen, they'll begin the destruction of this part December 9th, because there's a couple of meetings, one on the 7th and 8th. We have a meeting on the 8th. And then they're scheduled to have that completed by December 28th, the end of the month. So, in January, we should have a new and very clean look. The other big one is the transaction window that's going to go into the foyer right as folks come in that first door. And, you know, especially I think we just heard we might be getting a purple star soon, according to the county. It's just going to be a real relief to be able to work with people right there in the foyer and, you know, prevent contact or mingling. Should hopefully help the situation. So if you have any questions on this, let me know. The transaction window will start first, so when you come in, if we do have our meeting here on the 8th, you will see some demolition going on downstairs where they have to break through the wall and work on that, but we'll be holding off again up here until we've had our meetings that week. Another big thing is on your agenda tonight. That's our zoning amendments, and we've been working for months on that now. We've gone through a lot of hearings, a lot of drafts, and I for one am pleased to finally have it in front of council for a first reading. The Flanders Funston project did get underway. I guess was that last week or the week before, recently, and not quite done yet. We've had some issues with the surface that was put down, so we're working with the contractor to correct those items. Their contract does run through December. I will just have to keep you updated on where that is and what we're working on to remedy the situation. So we got our waste and recycling bids today. I thought for a minute I wasn't going to have the results, but just about 10 minutes before I finished my report, we did get our results back. I only had an opportunity to take a real quick look, but they had kind of prepared us for a rather large increase, and thankfully that did not happen. Rumpke was the sole bidder. I think we had 5 people who had picked up the packets, but in the end, only one did bid. And it looks like we'll probably be up just about $1 per household per month. So they've been keeping track of, like, the recycling, I think, has been kind of volatile, but I'm pretty pleased with that. So I'll have a whole report. I know we have a finance and a service meeting next week, and I'll have more information at that time for you. Speaking of recycling, Rumpke is going to announce that they're going to collect yogurt tubs and butter tubs now, which has been kind of a frustration for people who like to recycle, that they haven't been able to throw those in there. So soon they'll be able to do that. And folks will get some more information on that, especially since Rumpke will continue as our vendor, that they'll do their mailing the first of the year again, and I'm sure include that information. All right, we're also working on our 2021 appropriation. It's probably made it a little bit more difficult this year, only because we really don't know what we're going to be dealing with next year. But, you know I can always count on the staff to just, everybody works together to make sure we end up where we need to be ending up in terms of our money situation. And we will have that at Finance Committee next week, and then for Council also at the December 8th meeting. So Another item on your agenda tonight is the Anthem Renewal, and we were thrilled to get a 7% increase. I think they had said the norm was 9 to 17% for these kinds of plans. I think I had mentioned to you that I would let you know what it could potentially be had we had to go to a public market. Those increases were 62%. So at this point in time, I'm pretty glad we have a 7% increase. Anyway, that's on your agenda for tonight, hopefully for approval, so we can get all the paperwork done associated with that. Good old Winton Road, we're still waiting for our new lights, still projecting for those to be up by mid-December. So trees to be planted sometime in the winter, so should be wrapping that one up soon. In front of you, you see a picture of the little library. We have a Girl Scout troop that made a little library for our community. They're putting some finishing touches on it, and then they'll be working with the service department to put that up over at the Bradford Playground. So we're looking forward to that. Nice project. I'm glad we finally have one here in Green Hills. And then I want to let you know that we did do a mailing to anyone who had joined the pool this past summer. Really as a token of appreciation for, first and foremost, the support of our swimming pool, and second, any frustrations they had to go through with the new COVID guidelines. I'm sure it wasn't easy for anybody, but we appreciate it, and it was just one way that we could show that appreciation. So that's what I have for now.
Okay, any comments or questions?
Yeah, I have 3 questions. Number 1, would the podium also be?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, any kind of carpeting. We'll also have new chairs out.
New
in the-
chairs.
Yeah.
Okay.
And back
Replacing
here, too?
everything to be something that we can spray.
Spray. And then last but not least, on the street lights, so there was a mistake made on the order. Is there, was the mistake ours, or was the mistake the company that made that
It
putting
was
them-
in the bid. The bid went out with yellow. It should have gone out with black.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. But the other side is correct. The one on Cromwell, that was not a problem there. on the lights.
They're
They'll all be
changing
replaced.
Oh,
Yeah,
they're going to
those are
replace
yellow.
as well?
just to
Right,
trap
right.
the heads.
Yeah, the
Oh.
arms are fine.
Okay.
It's literally the signal, the
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
red, green, and yellow.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, Law Director Jeff Forbes.
Thank you, Mayor. Just one item, and I included it in the written report, so you may have seen it already, but we've sort of been talking about this the last few meetings. House Bill 404 has passed now, and that basically takes away the December 1st termination date for your ability to conduct
Zoom.
virtual meetings or, to have the Zoom meetings. So that bill is passed. It now has a new termination date like in July, I believe. So it extends your ability to have virtual meetings until July.
And I'll add to that same bill, if your driver's license was due back in March, or anytime between March and the end of this year, or July of next year, you don't have to get your driver's license renewed until that July period.
Right. I think that was working from the same previous December.
Yeah.
They've given you until December, and that deadline was extended through July as well.
All right,
But that's all I have.
okay. All right. Clerk of Council, Tanya Caller.
No report.
Okay. Chief of Police, Neil Fertelman.
Thanks, Mr. Mayor. The Green Hills Police Department has been accredited since 2007, so that goes back to the approval of council some number of years ago that had the foresight to pass that and enact that. The department has remained accredited since then, and we are once again up for an assessment. It's going to be a little different this time because typically that is an on-site assessment. It will be all virtual. So we're tuning up our Zoom software and getting ready to conduct all that. Actually, the meeting that Yvonne mentioned will be in here on Monday, December 7th, the day before the next council meeting. And that will be our public information session anyone is encouraged to come here. We will have not the assessors here, but just a computer screen and Zoom access to the assessors. The second option is anyone that can't or does not want to attend that session, they can call the team directly. The telephone number is posted on our website. For anyone that might be listening in that wants to jot it down, the telephone number is 540-407-1407. And that'll be available again on our website, or you can call the police department. We'll be happy to give it to you. And that call-in session will be the same day, Monday, December the 7th, and that'll be between 2:30 and 4:30 in the afternoon. And perhaps the easiest way to get a hold of the team may be by email, and that's also listed on our website, and a person can send their emailed comments anytime at their convenience between now and December the 8th. So we're very excited. Ann Ward, who is our current accreditation manager, has worked tirelessly. The process has changed a bit in that a lot of the work is done beforehand in a review of our standards, and those are all done electronically now. Lieutenant Ward has managed that software flawlessly, and we just received word that all of our standards have been accepted and approved. So we're already a good bit of the way in. I'd like to thank the manager and council for the support of the accreditation program. I know that was one of the things that I looked at back in 2013 when I started here, and frankly, I wouldn't have been interested in coming to a community that demanded anything less than an excellent police department. So we'll try our best to maintain that for you. We did also just receive our 4th state certification. The state runs its own certification program through the Ohio Collaborative of the Community Police Advisory Board. Their last group 4 was on vehicular pursuit standards. We have revised our pursuit policy a number of times. It's quite restrictive because, as you know from reading headlines on a daily basis, pursuits are very dangerous, not only to innocent victims that happen to be on the roadway, but to our officers and to even the suspects. So we passed that through the inspection through the state. One of the things that we just recently accomplished on November 19th was a thorough cleaning of our property room and ridding accumulated narcotics evidence that was no longer needed for prosecution. We bagged 50 pounds of everything from heroin to cocaine to meth to marijuana, and that was taken by one of our officers to an undisclosed location and incinerated while the officer watched. Another thing that was very different this year was our trick-or-treat. We always enjoy passing out candies to our residents and their children, particularly the children. And we had some boxes that were mounted on the hoods of cruisers as the cruiser stopped among a group of children. We had a good time with that and a good response. We did participate in a sad event. That was the funeral of Hamilton County Sheriff's Corporal Adam Mcmillan. We're fortunate that we had 2 of our officers selected to be on the very prestigious Hamilton County Honor Guard. They represented us very well. They were on the casket detail and on the firing line at the funeral ceremony. And Officer Eric Tricase and Zach Clark did a very commendable job. We continued some training. Officer David Bacon, Philip Means, and Cody Ritchie completed some advanced training. It was CIT training, which stands for Crisis Intervention Training, and the specific school that they recently completed was enhancing our de-escalation skills, something that's very important in law enforcement in 2020, and we're trying to stay ahead of the curve on that. Also, Lieutenant Ward, Corporal Mathis, and I attended training in this room for 7 hours today to enhance our supervisory schools, which contradicts the old slogan that you can't teach an old dog new tricks, so we're still trying. Our generosity of our residents continues to be just amazing. We received a large box of K-Cup coffee, along with some homemade chocolate chip cookies from 2 residents in our C section. They wrote all kinds of, probably 24 inspiring little Post-it notes that were on the box that I look at every morning as I make some coffee. One Greenhills family that is very close to you that chooses to remain anonymous overwhelmed us with 4 $50 gift cards so we could provide a good Thanksgiving to some needy residents. We're in the process of concluding those and selecting those residents and getting those out, the gift cards out. Coincidentally, we had a regular philanthropist in the community who won a turkey from the fire department and a village employee who also won a turkey. Those two collaborated, put those 2 gift cards together to put out another Thanksgiving dinner for our family, and we're in the process of getting that out. Our Lieutenant Ann Ward and our police clerk Vonda Secoy were mentioned. You can imagine the frustration of a woman who was stopped and was told that there was a felony warrant attached to her car. Turned out that when another police agency nearby entered the license plate as a felony warrant, numbers were transposed. It was a typographical error. And Vonda and Ann went to work to straighten this out. Sometimes it's like moving heaven and earth to get things out of that computer system and straightened out, but they did. We've assured her that her license plate is no longer entered. The proper plate is now in there. She was so grateful, she sent up a gift basket and wrote a very nice note to express her relief. While I was in training today, I got a phone call, and I thought it was my daughter. When I answered, it turned out it was my 3.5-year-old granddaughter who just wanted to say hi to Grandpa because she missed her. So I think a lot of that has gone on in our family units, particularly with grandparents. So along those lines, I had a request from one of our first grade teachers at Primary North. Typically what our officers have done, and I've been included in this in the past, is gone over and read to the first and second graders. My favorite book to read is Officer Buckle and Gloria. So the teacher called me and said, is there any way we could do this virtually? So we collaborated with our good friends at Waycross, and they produced a very top grade video of the reading, and they've posted that online. It's also available through our website. And I think it's a way for all of us during this difficult year to connect a little more with our families when it's unable to any other way. You may notice if you take a look at our monthly report that some of our reports are changing. As you know, the computer system that we used for about 7 or 8 years was discontinuing. We selected a new system. I'm really pleased that we selected the one that we did. We find new things every day, and they're building new things, so we're able to add a lot more of reporting and crime analysis capabilities. So you may have seen some of those that we're including incrementally as we learn how to use them. Statistically, during the month of October, we made 18 criminal arrests, including 1 for ag menacing, 1 for criminal trespass, 3 for disorderly conduct, 7 for failure to appear, and 2 for possession of drugs. We responded to 198 incidents, including 12 motorist assists, 5 well-being checks, 6 reports of criminal trespass, 11 intrusion alarms, 4 neighborhood trouble runs, 5 parking complaints, 6 places found open, 5 suspicious persons, 13 suspicious vehicles, 12 thefts, and 3 trouble runs. We provided mutual aid in 18 instances. We issued 24 traffic citations, 25 warnings, and investigated 3 traffic crashes. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Comments or questions?
I have a couple of questions. Number one, do you need any one of us to write letters for the CALIA accreditation thing that we used to do, or?
That would be very helpful. If you had the opportunity to check your email, you should have received something from me yesterday.
Okay.
And any of those 3 opportunities that I mentioned, either the public hearing, the phone call, or an email, all are equally effective. So
Okay.
if you would be kind enough to do that, we'd appreciate it, especially if you say good things.
All right. Number 2, are we collecting toys for our kids for Christmas and the box in here, or not because of COVID?
That's probably a manager question.
Right, we are not
We're
because of
not.
the virus.
Okay. Number 3, I know this is for you.
Okay.
I heard this and read it, and it was overwhelming on the news about the nails situation on Sharonville and Springdale roads that were perforating tires of passersby. Has anything, I have not heard anything of the outcome of that. Has that been taken care of, has been caught or not?
Well, I don't know that either of those instances were related to Green Hills. However, we have had one instance, and we have an investigator assigned to working on that.
And,
It
I
was in our
figured
I section.
it's kind of like close by. And then, last but not least, the break-ins on cars that have been happening, has that come to fruition? I mean, have been caught or not?
Well, as you know, we had 2 nights a while back.
Yeah.
That we were hit. Other communities have been hit.
Mm-hmm.
Hamilton has been hit very hard with catalytic converter thefts.
Yeah.
But we have been very fortunate lately. We've stepped up our patrols.
Okay.
We probably blinded a few people with spotlights around houses, but we've continued to keep a check, and we have not had any of those in a
Okay.
recent past.
That's it.
Thank you, Chief.
Okay. All right, and I've got Mayor's Court report. State of Ohio got $509 from us, Hamilton County $18, and the village $1,860 for Mayor's Court. And that's all I have. Okay, committee reports, Recreation, Cable TV, Natasha Metz.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I unfortunately don't have anything to report, though.
Okay. All right, Intergovernmental Affairs, Laws and Rules, Maria Walther.
We did not have a meeting today. I would like, if it's okay with Mrs. Hermes, to think about having one for the end of the year, perhaps to put together all that we have done or failed to do on December the 8th, prior to our work session or whatever, it gets to be council meeting or work session or something like that. If you would like to also do that also with the safety, since I am also on that one, perhaps we should
That
have
works.
both of them together and just kind of have a recap of the year to end of the year, if that's okay with you.
That is fine by me.
Okay, so December the 8th, starting at 5:30 the one and the 6 o'clock the other one? Okay,
Okay, Service and Streets, Jennifer Osman, Manigalu.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. We have a tentative meeting for the Streets and Services Committee on December 2nd, but that's subject to change, maybe.
I'm
Are we
okay.
going to change
No,
it?
she will stay with that.
Are we going to stay
Are
with
you
that?
okay? Are
Yes.
you okay?
Yeah, we were just hoping for a little bit longer to work on it, but the Friday
Okay.
won't work, so we'll stay with the second.
Okay, okay, great.
Thank
So
you.
that's at 9:30-ish. Just a reminder about leaf collection. There was an email that Yvonne sent out to everybody, the village headlines. So the last day of leaf collection will be December 10th, so be sure to rake all your stuff out, have that ready to go. On the Greenhills website, there is now a link to the Streets and Services. If you have a comment or something that needs to be addressed, you can click on the Streets and Services menu on the website, and then you click on that, and then it'll give you an option. You can send an email directly to Streets and Services for any repairs or anything like that. Thank you.
That's awesome.
I do have a question or a comment.
Sure.
I have a pin oak tree, hasn't shed, even though we had all those storms.
Yeah.
Still full of leaves. Usually it's later on when it happens, and there are several neighbors that have the same thing. Are we still having that flexibility, if that were to happen, to still put leaves out or not?
If it looks like we still have a lot beyond the date, we would
Okay.
probably extend it.
We
We'll
can let you
announce that.
know. We can
Yeah,
let you
right,
know.
we would do an announcement,
Okay,
yes.
All right,
We'll
thank
call
you.
Village Headline, sure.
And then anyone can click on the link.
There you go.
There you go.
There you
Use the
go.
link on the website.
Woo-hoo.
Okay,
And the-
Community Development, Jeff Halter.
I was going to say, but the leaf collection, make sure the leaves are out by that Monday, because you guys, the services department does one pass per week. So if you put it out after they go past your street, you might be missed. So
Yeah, the 10th is the last day, so, yeah.
make sure they're out by
the
Monday,
7th.
the 7th.
Yeah.
One thing I wanted to mention is I was walking around the park and passing someone, and they said, "Are you on council?" And I said, "Yes," never knowing what that might translate to. But it was the lady that came up and asked about concern about Hadley and the parking, and she was really grateful. She had said she meant to get up here, but, I just basically said it's just nice to have that, a safer corner. So thank you for doing that. And Chief, thank you for the whole CALIA. That's a lot of work on top of everything else. But I agree with you, in this day and age, that extra effort is worth it. Just an update on housing construction is actually going to be moved to DeWitt Court site. We actually think that's a better location, and the hope is to start in January, but there's a lot of variables. I've talked to a number of contractors, and one in particular was wondering where his garage doors were, and he contacted the place that was his source, and he said, I ordered 56, expecting 56 of them to show up, and I got 2. So I know that the contracting industry, and so this is, there's a lot affecting when this will actually take place, but I do think it's a better location for them to
Be a
start.
great place to start.
Yep. And that concludes my report.
All right. Safety, Melanie Hermes?
No report, but we will be meeting the same day on December 8th at 5:30 or 6.
Okay. All right. Finance and Audit, Jack Lee?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. We will be meeting on December 2nd at 9 a.m. Also, at your places tonight, you'll see a general fund recap. Really, there's not a whole lot of change from the previous month. We did receive more income taxes. Real estate is exactly the same from the previous month, and the overall general balance is up slightly. Transfers are static and have been all year long, so that's been great. Expenses, staff has continued to save money from what's been spent. Watching those nickels and dimes this year in particular. So unless you have any questions, that's the end of my report.
Good. All right. Hearing none, we have no unfinished business. New business, ordinance number 2020-04-CD, first reading, amending various sections of the zoning code for the Village of Greenhills. Mr. Halder?
Yes, I have ordinance number 2020-04-CD, amending various sections of the zoning code for the Village of Greenhills. Whereas the Greenhills zoning code provides for certain regulations, related permitted uses, conditional uses, and certificates of zoning compliance, and whereas the Planning Commission for the Village of Greenhills has recommended approval of certain amendments to the zoning code related to such regulations. Whereas pursuant to section 1151.08 of the zoning code, the village council shall either adopt or deny the recommendation of the Planning Commission, or adopt some modification of the recommendation by the Planning Commission, and whereas a public hearing has been held as required by the zoning code. Now therefore be it ordained by the Council of Village of Greenhills, members elected thereunto concurring, section 1, that the zoning code of the Village of Greenhills is hereby amended as set forth in Exhibit A, attached hereto and incorporated herein by reference. Section 2, that all other provisions of the zoning code shall remain in full force and effect. Section 3, that this ordinance shall take effect and be enforced from and after the earliest period allowed by law. I move that we accept this ordinance.
No.
No.
First reading.
No, first
Sorry,
reading.
First reading. I take that back. First reading.
Okay. All right. Next one is resolution number 2020-32-F, requesting the county auditor to make tax advances during the year 2021 pursuant to the Ohio Revised Code, section 321-.34. Mr. Lee.
Thank you, Mayor. Resolution 2020-32F, resolution requesting the county auditor to make tax advances during the year 2021 pursuant to Ohio Revised Code, section 321.34. Whereas the Ohio Revised Code allows for a taxing authority to request advance payment from the county auditor funds derived from taxes and other sources to the county treasurer, which may be held on account of a location subdivision. Now therefore be resolved by the Council of Village of Greenhills, Ohio, Section 1. The auditor and the treasurer of Hamilton County, in accordance with Ohio Revised Code 321.34, be required to draw and pay to the Village of Greenhills upon written request of the Finance Director, Deborah Heimer, to the county auditor, funds due in any settlement of 2021 derived from taxes and other sources payable to the county treasurer to the account of the Village of Greenhills and lawfully applicable for the purposes of the current fiscal year. Section 2, the clerk of council of the Village of Greenhills be and hereby is directed to transmit a certified copy of this resolution to the auditor of Hamilton County, Ohio. Section 3, this resolution shall take effect and be in full force from and after the earliest date allowed by law. Mr. Mayor, I move for the adoption of this resolution.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any comments or questions? All right, clerk call the roll.
Ms. Hermes?
Aye.
Ms. Metz?
Aye.
Ms. Walther?
Aye.
Ms. Osmanaglu?
Aye.
Mr. Halter?
Aye.
And Mr. Lee?
Aye.
Okay, resolution number 2020-32-F passes. Next resolution, number 2020-33-F, declaring certain village property as surplus property and authorizing the municipal manager to properly dispose of said property. Mr. Lee.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Resolution 2020-33-F, declaring certain village property as surplus property and authorizing the municipal manager to properly dispose of said property. Whereas the council has determined that there is certain village property that is not needed or is unfit for public use as set out in Ohio Revised Code Section 721.15. Now, therefore, it be resolved by the Council of the Village of Greenhills, Hamilton County, Ohio, members hereto concurring that, Section 1, that the village property listed in the attached Exhibit A and included herein by reference is declared to be surplus property no longer needed for the municipal purposes or unfit for public use. Section 2, that the municipal manager is hereby authorized to sell said property, the estimated value of which is less than $1,000 without any formal bidding procedure, or to sell said property that exceeds $1,000 to the highest and best bidder. Section 3, that the municipal manager is hereby authorized to utilize any internet auction services available in order to dispose of said property. Section 4, that the municipal manager is further authorized to use any other method deemed appropriate and necessary by the municipal manager in order to dispose of said property in order to obtain the most value for said property. Section 5, that this resolution shall take effect and be in full force from and after the earliest date allowed by law. Mr. Mayor, I move for the adoption of this resolution.
Second.
Okay, any comments or questions?
There's only one item, and it's a 2005 Ford Explorer, and I'm assuming that it's not running, so.
It runs.
Oh,
It runs.
okay, it runs. Good.
It doesn't start, but it runs.
Okay.
But once it
Okay.
starts, it runs.
Clerk, call the roll.
Ms. Osmanaglu?
Aye.
Ms. Walther?
Aye.
Mr. Halter?
Aye.
Mr. Lee?
Aye.
Ms. Metz?
Aye.
And Ms. Hermes?
Aye.
Okay, resolution number 2020-33-F passes. Next resolution number 2020-34-F, authorizing municipal manager to enter into an agreement with Anthem for providing health insurance coverage for the employees of the Village of Greenhills. Mr. Lee.
I apologize for disparaging the Ford Explorer, although I had bad experience with one. Anyway, Resolution 2020-34F, authorizing the municipal manager to enter into an agreement with Anthem for providing health insurance coverage for the employees of the Village of Greenhills. whereas the Village of Greenhills provides health insurance benefits for eligible employees, and whereas the village has utilized Horan Associates to request and review proposals for health insurance coverage from various carriers and determine that the proposal submitted by Anthem is the best proposal for the village in the terms of quality, service, adaptability, and reflects a continuation of the current plans. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the Council of Village Green Hills, Ohio, Section 1, that the municipal manager is hereby authorized to enter into an agreement with Anthem for the purpose of providing health insurance for eligible employees for the term January 1, 2021 through December 31st, 2021. Section 2, that the village will continue to offer a dual option plan and will pay the same employer contribution dollar amount for both plans. The dollar amount is based upon 80% of the highest priced premium plan. Section 3, that the finance director is hereby authorized to pay Anthem monthly premiums totaled an annual amount of approximately $153,276. Said amount fluctuating depending upon the number of persons enrolled in the plan. Section 4, that this resolution shall be effective immediately upon its adoption. Mr. Mayor, I move for the adoption of this plan.
Second.
it.
Comments or questions? All right. Clerk, call the roll.
Mrs. Walter?
Aye.
Ms. Osmanaguz?
Aye.
Mr. Halter?
Aye.
Mr. Lee?
Aye.
Ms. Hemming?
Aye.
And Ms. Smith?
Aye.
Okay, resolution number 2020-34-F passes. Next resolution is Resolution 2020-35-F, authorizing the municipal manager to execute the 2020 CARES Act local jurisdiction agreement with Hamilton County. Mr. Lee.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Resolution 2020-35F, authorizing the municipal manager to execute the 2020 CARES Act local jurisdiction agreement with Hamilton County. Whereas in 2020, the United States began addressing problems and issues associated with the worldwide COVID-19 public health emergency. And whereas Hamilton County has allocated $25 million in CARES Act funding to local jurisdictions within Hamilton County. And whereas the Village of Greenhills in Hamilton County desire to enter into an agreement regarding the disbursement of said allocation. Now therefore be it resolved by the Council of Village of Green Hills members thereto concurring that Section 1, that the municipal manager is hereby authorized to execute the 2020 CARES Act's local jurisdiction agreement with Hamilton County, substantially in the form of the agreement attached hereto as Exhibit A and incorporated herein by reference. Section 2, that the municipal manager and the finance director are authorized to take all steps necessary to comply with the terms of said agreement. Section 3, that this resolution shall be effective immediately upon its adoption. Mr. Mayor, I move the adoption of this resolution.
Second.
Okay, been moved and seconded. Any comments or questions? All right, hearing none, clerk call the roll.
Ms. Osmanaguz?
Aye.
Ms. Walter?
Aye.
Mr. Halter?
Aye.
Mr. Lee?
Aye.
Ms. Smith?
Aye.
Ms. Hemming?
Aye.
Okay, resolution 2020-35-F passes. All right, and that's all we have. The calendar, the meeting on the 8th will be our regular council meeting. And I suggested to Yvonne that since the other one is the week of Christmas, let's not do that meeting. And also, since this room will be under construction, so we'll just do one meeting in September,
Second.
or December. What?
December.
Okay, so, and the other council, we have, traffic and safety, and we have laws and rules scheduled for the 8th at 5:30.
Finance on December 2nd.
Recreation.
and services as well.
Recreation and community development also on the 8th. We'll do that at 2 for community development, 2:30 for rec.
Big day.
Anything else?
Just wish everybody
Oh, wait a minute. When do we want to do, what night
Oh,
did we want to
the-
pick for Christmas lights? And how do we want to handle that?
I'm
Chain
out
of golf
this year.
carts all linked
Or, my wife agreed to go along with me to look at lights. So if somebody else would, we could maybe, her and I could we could divide the town up, or if we had somebody else that took another part of the town. Does that sound?
I'm doing the certificates, so.
He's doing the certificates.
I don't mind taking part of the town.
Okay, all right,
If we pick a day, I can see if it'll work.
okay. Let's pick a
And-
day so we can put something in the journal, so tell people to turn their lights on.
And we'll see how well a 6-year-old can write down addresses.
Yeah.
Yeah, have a 12-year-old.
I was gonna say, I'm out this year with a 9-month-old. Sorry, guys.
Not a Thursday and not a Wednesday for me, but, sorry.
Yeah, I
So,
could do Monday or Friday.
Monday or Friday?
Does that work for
You
you?
want to shoot for like the 14th then?
Yeah.
All
Is that
right.
okay?
In the
14th?
evening, it should work.
Okay, all right, we'll shoot for light up. Make sure you have your Christmas lights on or your holiday lights, whatever your persuasion is, on December the 14th. I know some people put them up already. All right,
Mr. Mayor, I have a couple of questions,
Yeah.
if I may ask. Has Waycross continued the cable meetings quarterly by Zoom or something? Because we haven't heard any report of that.
yeah, I don't know.
They've been canceled, which is why I haven't provided any
Okay, and the
report.
other one is, I never heard, we haven't heard about the commission, the Recreation Commission, that is, by charter, they have 5 members. Are they meeting by Zoom or not, or what's happening there?
No,
Because
we
they
have-
are the ones that brings the recommendations to the Recreation Committee.
No, we haven't had, I don't know, I'm not sure.
I've not heard from them.
Because the order of that is that they
Yeah.
give the recommendations to the committee, so I have not
Right.
heard that either.
Okay, yeah, I haven't either. I'm assuming it's COVID-related. And I haven't, I don't know if you talked to Doug lately?
Because remember that and the charter committee, we reduced it from 7 to 5 in order to
Right,
be able
right, yeah.
to have more contact with them.
Yeah.
Okay.
All righty, meeting adjourned.